Okay, welcome to Undrafted Hockey Fan. Today, I'm Brad, and today we're going to go over some more NHL news. I already posted one, a half-hour video podcast before, so definitely go check that out. But we're going to be talking about some trades, some signings, some speculation. This is the fun part of the season where you're like, okay, like what's going to happen? Because right now we're going to talk about Brock Nelson. Like, does he get traded? Like, does New York? And like, you have to really do it a little bit. If you're a hockey nerd, I'm gonna nerd out a little bit. So, I'm looking at okay, how many retention spots does New York Islanders have? How many people can they trade and retain money on it to get a better draft pick, right? Like Brock Nelson, we're talking about. Okay, Brock Nelson is one of the number one trade targets out there right now, besides JT Miller, basically. And he's making $6 million a year. He has a 6-team no trade list, right? So that's like the 10 Canada teams, the 3 California teams, and like 2 other New York teams plus someone else, right? So it's basically it's half the league, right? It is half the league, 16, a little over half the league because he's not going to trade the Islanders, right? And so who's he get traded for? And so if they retain half, it's only $3 million, right? So a team like let's say Carolina's looking for, because they're in the trade market right now, right? They could probably use a little bit more center depth, right? So let's say they did let's say Toronto wanted to trade him for him, right? Well, 3 million, half retained $3 million. That's second round pick, right? And I think honestly it could be probably a second and a third round pick. Probably end up being a first round pick for him, like a low first round pick. Let's say, I don't know. The Toronto's like one of the ones that are looking for a center. I think Stars are also looking for a center because they lost Tyler Seguin and everything. He was playing more wing, but he has the capability to do that. Like you're looking for like a third line center. I think Brock Nelson would be a great fit. Let's see how is he doing this year in points. I think he's at like 30 some points, 31 points in 48 games. So yeah, and he's a UFA, right? So you're going to get him for a couple months, and then he's in it free agency. He's 33 years old, so I don't think he'll resign anywhere because he's probably wants to hit the free market. And probably want to try and go after that. It also looks like the Hurricanes. So according to Bleacher Report, Hurricanes, Stars, Wild, Capitals, and Jets. Woo! Come on, right? Those are all absolutely. Actually, I think Brock Nelson's actually from Minnesota. I think he is from Minnesota. So in my opinion, I don't think he goes. I don't think he goes to Minnesota. I think he signs in Minnesota in the offseason, but I don't think that he does that right now. So imagine for you go to Washington, they're super hot, right? I don't know if Islanders want to do that in their own division, right? Because there's a pick going back and everything. Well, I don't think Washington want it. They'll probably look at him, right? Hurricanes, same thing, but Hurricanes, they just traded a second round pick, right? So they're not in they just traded for Mikko Rantanen and didn't have to give a first round pick for him. That's crazy, right? But let's say you can dump Kotkaniemi's contract, who is making a ton of money. That would be huge for Hurricanes. Tell me, Hurricanes fans, you guys like Kotkaniemi? I thought he was like a decent player. I know he's not third overall pick. He's like third overall pick, higher, but he's currently at Kotkaniemi. Yeah, 25 points in 51 games. He's at a half point per game player. Definitely not your elite second line center. Sebastian Aho is at 51 points in 50 games. Oh, dang, that's awesome, dude. Kotkaniemi was a third overall pick. So, if you could dump a Kotkaniemi, he's got this year and the next 5 years after that. Ooh, that's not great. Brother, don't love that. But I think if you can, so you get, because Carolina doesn't have any space left. They don't have any cap space left. So they're going to have a really hard time trying to sign a guy like him. Now, the Stars can absolutely do that. And I think the Stars would be a great fit for Brock Nelson just because of the hard game they play. And think about this. Tyler Seguin's out right now, but he might come back for the playoffs. So right now you have Matt Duchene playing center according to Puckpedia. He's doing super well, 47 points in the 49 games. Love that. Wyatt Johnston's playing top line center. That is sick. Rupe Hintz, what is happening to you, buddy? I think that would be great. I think if you had so let's say you did because you have Maverick Bourque on the second line. You don't want that Maverick Bourque yet. He's too young. He's 23, I guess. So he's kind of graduating already. But I think, oh man, this needs a little bit of a jolt, I think. So I think in a center would be I think a center for the Stars would be good because you can take Matt Duchene, move him over to the wing, I'd say, and then put Brock Nelson at the center spot. Maverick Bork, move him down. Move Sam Steele down. So you have Maverick Bork, Rope Hintz, and Logan Stankoven playing on your third line. That is a sick third line, right? Especially how Logan Stankoven has, he had a great breakout year last year. He's kind of slow this year, a little bit of a sophomore slump, but I think Stars would be a great fit for that. Again, the Wild, I don't think the Wild, they've slipped a lot. So we go to their ESPN rankings just to see where they are in the wild card spot right now. Because the Wild had a really hot start. They were looking really good, and they started to drop off, and they're in the third spot in the Central right now. They could get knocked out by Colorado. Currently, the Wild are 4-6-0 in their last 10. So slipping a little bit, right? But I could absolutely see them. I don't know if do they need him yet? Do they need a center at this point? I mean, you have like Eriksson Ek. You have, I guess, who is their second line center? I can't even think of her off the glove. Marco Rossi. Okay, 44 points, 50 games. I mean, that's awesome, right? Joel Eriksson Ek was injured for a while, 22 points in 36 games. He's back in the lineup, it looks like. Yeah, Freddie Gaudreau, I guess you can bump him down as well. And then oh, I forgot. Okay. By the way, if you don't know, if you look up the Minnesota Wild's lineup, the depth, their fourth line center is Marat, Cuts, Nuts, Dinoff. So Marat, cuts your nuts off. I mean, that guy got probably roasted in Russia. So anywho, is he Russian? He's got to be Russian, right? Or is he Belarus? He's Russian. Yeah, he's Russia. Okay, cool. Anyways, so I think Brock Nelson, and then last team in the Jets. The Jets, I mean, they're looking phenomenal. Jets are looking very good. They're top of the Central. I mean, the gap between the Stars and the Winnipeg Jets is 10 points. I mean, that's good, tiny business. And honestly, like I always talk about this, I am a Winnipeg Jets hater. So they got like $11 million in cap space for a deadline. Like, they're so good, dude. They're so set and they're so ready. You have Mark Scheifele, Vladislav Nemestikov. Yeah, okay. So I think he goes to the Jets. I think that's a good if he's willing to waive his no move clause, as long as he doesn't have Canada. I think Brock Nelson goes to either the Stars or the Jets. But let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment box below. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Spotify or Apple, make sure you tweet at me. So let me know. Cam York can get there's talks about him getting an extension in the $6 to $7 million range for 6 to 8 years. So let's see how Cam York is doing this year. Because right now there's a lot of speculation about him being traded potentially because there's a bit of frustration around him. Looking at Cam York right now, he's making 1.6 right now. And mind you have it's a left shot D, right? And you have Zamula already. You have Nick Seeler signed up for this year and 3 years after that. You have Sanheim's also a left shot, right? So why are they extending this guy? He's got 12 points in 37 games. That seems expensive for him. That seems really expensive. I think I'd rather trade him. But honestly, it actually depends on what you would get for him. But Cam York is he's a small defenseman. He's 5'11", a little under 200 pounds, not producing. So I don't know. That's a bad rumor. I'm gonna skip that because that doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense. So Luke Cunnin could be a potential, according to Elliot Freeman, could be a guy that the Toronto Maple Leafs pursue. And they definitely need some better. I mean, Toronto's been knowingly looking for a second line center or third line center. I imagine they're not willing to move a first round pick. So I think they're going to get outbid for Brock Nelson. I think they're definitely in the running for Yanni Gourde. Luke Cunnin is a right winger, can play center. 18 points, 53 games. Again, he's a depth guy. For a first round pick in the 15th overall by the Minnesota Wild. Never been a really big point guy, but again, I think he can play power play and penalty kill. So, actually, we'll just go daily faceoff. And so if you don't use daily faceoff for, I mean, they're great. They show you updated line charts and everything about what teams are doing what. So currently, Nick Cunnin is playing on the third line right wing. We're going to the penalty kill unit. Yeah, he's on the first penalty kill unit. So that is absolutely something that he could be very useful for. So I I don't mind that. I think it's going to be it'd be cheap to do it too. I don't think it'd be very expensive. So, looks like the Senators will spend 4 days in Quebec City during preseason as part of the training camp, and will suit up for 2 preseason games in Quebec against the Devils and against the Canadiens. So, there is rumors from a future expansion team. I think that they're going to be like they're last in my opinion. Like to me, the NHL wants to get in big markets. In Quebec, already continues to go to Toronto Maple Leafs games, and they go to Ottawa Senator games, and they go to Montreal Canadiens games, right? Like they're willing to travel because Quebec City is like a huge hockey market. So like by putting a team there, you're like, it's already people are going to spend money already, right? People are still buying Quebec Nordique stuff still, right? And so to me, you're gonna the expansion of. I mean, it's good they're playing preseason games there. I think it just shows that like they're. I think that's a good service to the market, right? And it'll be a good test as well. But to me, the teams, the cities that are going to get expansions are going to be Houston, Kansas City, Atlanta, and Phoenix. So you're going to go back to Phoenix first, probably go back to Atlanta, and then do something similar to this in Kansas City and Houston, because those are some of the biggest markets. I think Arizona is like a top 8 population in the what's it called in the U.S. Of course. Oh my goodness. So I apologize. It's almost midnight. So we're here partying, man. You know. So yeah, I think it's good. It's good for Quebecians. Quebecians. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with it. Quebecians. I think that it's good for them. But again, I think that the Red Wings are not, or the Red Wings, the NHL is just not focused on doing something like that in Quebec long term because the market's already there, right? I think I believe the NHL eventually expands to 40 teams. That is my belief. And then the playoffs are a 24 team round where like the bottom, so you have the top 8 are instantly in. The bottom 16 have their own tournament, right? And then they fight it out. I think eventually it goes to 40 teams. That's my opinion. I mean, you could even do like a 20 teams fight for the playoffs, right? And you could have like the top 12 make into the playoffs, and then the other 8 fight it out for the last 4 spots, right? And then you just do a 16 team tournament. So kind of similar to the play-in round for the NBA. I kind of like that. It's more playoffs, more intensity, higher, like usually the better team wins, right? But it does make it interesting at least. So, this is a really heartfelt story. Dominik Shine of now the Detroit Red Wings signs a 2-year contract worth league min. He's 31 years old, and yesterday did his NHL debut with the Red Wings. So he had in the AHL this past season, he has 32 points, 11 goals in 40 games with the Griffins. And the thing is he's been with, so there's a lot to unpack here with this. He's never played outside of Michigan other than his 4 seasons in the USHL. He played at Northern Michigan in the NCAA from 2013 to 2017. And he's been with the Griffins in the AHL since 2017. So he's been in the Red Wings organization for this long. And so it was so cool that Shiner got an opportunity. He looked good. He played the least amount of minutes, of course, because he's like, he's an AHLer, right? So but it's cool to see at 31 years old, he gets his debut. There's actually talks about, he actually in his post-game interview talked about how he was considering hanging him up. Like he's hanging up the skates and everything. And it would have been so sad and everything. So I mean, this guy's played 462 games in the AHL and just, again, never got an NHL game. So I think this is good for the Red Wings. It's good. It's a good feel-good story. And to me, it's a smart for the Red Wings as well. Because one, I think they recognize his value in the organization as an AHLer, as a Griffin and everything. And this is my opinion because now that they've called him up, they signed him to a contract. To go back to the AHL, he will have to clear waivers, right? So maybe a team looked at them like, hey, maybe we could do something with this. Like maybe they're like, maybe like the Islanders are like, oh, like he is playing well in the AHL. Let's give him a try, right? Well, the Red Wings didn't sign him for just this year. They signed him for next year too, and I'm pretty sure it's a 2-way contract. But that's the important thing about that is that then a team has to commit to paying him next year too, right? And they're like, well, we don't want to just take him on just to take him on. We want a guy that's actually going to be like, hey, like a long-term fit here. So it is a 2-way contract, which is good for him. It is prorated, right? But so this year, if he goes back to the AHL, he'll make $120,000, and then next year, make $250,000. I think that's like a good, like, hey man, we appreciate you. He was released. It looks like he had a professional tryout. Never mind. Professional tryout with the NHL. I mean, or with the NHL team, of course. Like he's tried out for the Red Wings, but just hasn't worked out. Again, he's played one game. He got 10 minutes of ice time. Okay, cool. Like it's just like it's just cool to see. It's like a good feel good story and everything. So we love to see it, man. So yeah, hell yeah. So then let's see a couple other things. Looks like he's from Michigan too, right? So that's even the crazy thing is that he's like from Michigan. So he's played in Michigan and he's from Michigan. He's pretty much done that all his whole life. So clearly he's been a good homeboy and everything, and he's really hooked it up. So Logan Thompson signs his a 6-year extension with the Washington Capitals for $5.85 million per year. That is phenomenal for the Washington Capitals, who picked up Logan Thompson for just 2 third-round picks, I'm pretty sure. Let's get a look. I'll pull it up. Remind you, like Logan Thompson was making like league min. Like he was making league min, and suddenly he's making like 760,000, and now he's performed so well that he's making 5.86 or $5.85 million. It was a third round pick in 2024 and 2025. It just, to me, it's crazy that this guy just kind of like can't. It feels like was he undrafted as well? He had to be undrafted, right? Let's see. Yeah, he was undrafted. Let's see, where did he start? Because I mean, that's again, and this guy won a Stanley Cup with the Knights too, right? He's been with the Knights the whole time. Played mostly in the AHL in as late as 21, 22. So he was 23 at the time. He had put a 920 save percentage. Awesome. I mean, the guy performed really well with the Henderson Knights, Silver Knights. Played in the ECHL. I mean, he's been going back a while. I mean, I love to see a story like this too, because the guy's just like, it's like a good feel good story. He seems like a guy's guy too. A good solid extension, 6 years. I mean, he's their next goalie. He's their goalie of the future, right? And with Washington locking him up, they also have Lindgren as well. He does not have a contract for next year. He is a UFA. He's 27. Again, these are two guys that he's 30. Charlie Lindgren is 30. But to me, Lindgren, like you end up just doing is with Washington, you're like, let's take some flyers. Like Washington's strategy was so cool. They're like, let's take a flyer on these guys. Like, let's just try them out, right? And they signed Lindgren back in 2022. Like, they're like, we're just going to take flyers on guys. Like, let's take a flyer on Chikrin. He wasn't working out with Senators. Let's try a flyer on Mangiapane. He was slowing down in Calgary. They traded Mantha. They picked up Orlov, or not Orlov. They picked up Wah. Like, they're like, let's just try these guys out. I mean, let me pull it up right now. So they're like, hey, Rasmus Sandin, we'll trade the first round pick for him. They brought Lars Eller back in. They're like, hey, Taylor Radish, will sign you. Cool. Pierre-Luc Dubois, let's try him. Send out Kemper. Like Dylan Strome, sure, why not? Like they just like made these smart moves, and I'm so impressed with them because it's like heartwarming, right? Excuse me. It's gracious. It's very heartwarming because these guys are getting opportunities, and then you know what ends up happening is they're the best in the league. They're the best in the league right now. No, sorry. By point percentage, they are the best in the league. Winnipeg Jets are 7-2-1 in the last 10 with 73 points. Washington Capitals are 7-1-2 with 50. Oh, dude, they both have the same goal differential. Think about this, like they like so. Washington has a plus 53 goal differential, which means they scored 53 more goals than they've let in, and Winnipeg Jets have 59 plus. Like and Winnipeg has an $8.7 million goaltender in Hellebuck, and Washington's like we have a $5.8 million goaltender. Like, you're saving like $2 million and getting the same production. And honestly, Connor Hellebuyck is just standing on his head this year. So, but with them, like, we're talking about Logan Thompson, looking up his goals saved above expected, which is there's based on the shots, he saved a shot that should have been a goal. He saved approximately 26 more goals than expected. That is phenomenal. He's 22 wins, 2 losses, 3 overtime losses with a .925 save percentage. I mean, this guy is a monster. I mean, it's just cool to see, right? Like, he's got let's see, looking up in .925, a 9 or 209 goals against average. I mean, just again, monster. Just a monster. I love to see this dude. So, I mean, it's just cool. Like, it's just a good feel good stories. Again, more good feel good stories, dude. You know, it's like cool. But yeah, so good for you, Logan Thompson. Snaps, love you, man. So, like, keep up. Honestly, I want the Capitals to go far because why not? You have Ovechkin. Like, it's gonna be they're kind of retooling it, right? You know, because once Ovechkin's gone, like, like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, I really don't know what's gonna happen to the Pittsburgh Penguins or the New York Islanders, but we will see. So, looks like so it says currently, the NHL has no. Actually, we'll take a quick break. Actually, yeah, it's time for a break. We're gonna pay some bills with DraftKings. So I'll see you guys in a minute and a half. Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs? You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. Now, again, if you're looking at a contender like maybe the Chiefs or the Bills, I mean, you could bet them to go all the way. Or if you're just a Chiefs hater, let's say, you can bet against them up until the Super Bowl, and it's so great. So make sure to get on the action at DraftKings. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boo Hill Casino Resort. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. And we are back. And so we got a couple things we want to talk about. So, real quick, Kirill Kaprizov will likely have to undergo surgery, or he's having surgery. Will be out 4 weeks. And so this guy he stepped away from the game for a little bit, to kind of rehab a little bit for his injury. He was currently on 52. He had 52 points in 37 games, 23 goals. I mean, this guy. I mean, let's see the pace. I'm curious. He's putting up 1.4 points per game. So 1.4. Let's see. So 23 goals in 37 games times 82. You're looking at a 51 goal pace for Kirill Kaprizov prior to his injury. Again, so he'll undergo surgery that'll sideline for 12 games at a minimum. He's expected to miss 4 weeks, though could be longer, which is fine. Like, I mean, Minnesota still, they're doing all right. They have, I think, a decent amount of injuries too. So we have a couple guys that are out. Let's look at the list real quick. So you have Kirill Kaprizov, Marcus Johansson, Jonas Brodin. I think what's his face? Brock Faber was out for a hot second too. So again, tough break, tough sliding. But again, if you can get him back and you get him back healthy, right? Let's say he hurt himself with the injury and everything. Anything else, he has the time to heal and everything. So honestly, it's probably going to be one of the best case scenarios for them. So, like, hopefully everything goes well. I think it will. Like, I mean, he's Russian. They don't mess around. They don't fuck around, dude. So, the St. Louis Blues have placed Brandon Saad on waivers for purposes of sending to AHL. Brandon Saad, 32-year-old, has played 43 games this year, has 16 points, 7 goals, 9 assists. that's just a bummer. Again, you bring in Brandon Saad. He's been there for a couple of years now, right? He's been on this contract, so he's been on a 5-year contract. He's got this year and next year left. I imagine at $4.5 million, he does not get claimed. And I'm curious on what the issue is. I mean, the production is really not. It's not great. It's not for a guy making $4.5 million. I guess for a guy making $4.5 million, you expect a half point per game. Putting up 16 points in 42 games is about a little under 4 points every 10 games. So you definitely need more than that. And so I understand it's a bummer. Like I said, like with veterans like that, like a Brandon Saad who Stanley Cup winner with the Chicago Blackhawks, like you're like, oh, dude, like you would love to see him, like you'd love to see him continue to thrive. But according again, if you're not producing NHL, like it's a results league, like just how it works, man. So and then lastly, so there's a couple more things I want to talk about. We talked about the Pettersson thing. There's actually a couple more things that came to light. It said Jim Rutherford said the Canucks aren't hoping to move Pettersson and Miller for prospects and picks to rebuild, as that would mean Quinn Hughes would also leave. So Vancouver is doing everything in their power to ensure Hughes spends his entire career with them. So expect them to try and acquire NHL talent, NHL ready pieces in the return. So this is a interview that Jim Rutherford gave, which is crazy. Again, when the president says it, this isn't a rumor. The president says these types of things, right? And Quinn Hughes has no protection either, right? So he can be traded literally anywhere. I imagine he'd want to go to New Jersey with his brothers, which would be crazy to have all three brothers playing on the team. But to me, like I don't know if it's the right move. I think you keep Pettersson. Like you move up Besser and Miller. And it says, and it looks like again, they say they can trade both of them. It just doesn't make sense. So, why would you do all this? Like, why are you tearing this thing up so bad? Right? Like, I definitely think you move Brock Besser. I think if you trade JT Miller, Brock Besser's going to want out anyways. And that would be tough for sure, but that's like recoverable, right? Like Brock Besser is a good player. I mean, it's hard to get back a good return for Miller, but I think you can get some really good pieces still. Brock Besser, 33 points in 42 games. He's 27. He's kind of in that range where like you'd have to probably give him a really long contract, but I think you can get good value for Besser. 16 goals in 42 games. So he's putting up about a 30 spot. So a 30 goal scorer. I mean, we saw Jake DeBrusk like get a good deal, like $5.5 million for 7 years. Like that's about probably what you have to give. No, you have to give Besser more because he's already making that much. He's probably gonna want 8. Like you can't afford to have like a $8 million for him, 11.5 for Pettersson. Like Quinn Hughes and Philip Hronek around 7. But like I don't know. Like I rather you get better player. Like I think he's a good player. I just don't think I think you want a better core, I guess. Because to me, the core is Hronek, Pettersson, Hughes, right? And like ideally Demko, but like he's kind of in and out, literally in and out of the lineup with injury. So to me, I don't know if I see Brock Besser as like the long-term guy here. Personally, I mean, again, I'm biased though. I mean, he was a pick. He is from Minnesota though, but imagine like trading Minnesota, like you can get like a good haul for him. I think they would love a Brock Besser. Absolutely. Like that'd be a great pickup for them. So, let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know your thoughts are on where you would like to see Brock Besser traded. And a couple more, just kind of some rumors and everything. Again, we have more teams that are linked to Elias Pettersson. We talked about the Red Wings. I think they could put a pretty good package together for Elias Pettersson. It's going to be very expensive. And then you have Senators, Sabres, Wild, Stars, Hurricanes. Yeah, of course. Everybody should be in on the Pettersson trade. Absolutely. When you got a guy who's put up over 100 points, absolutely you should. So, and supposedly Hurricanes are actually pretty close to acquiring Elias Pettersson before going for Rantanen, and the Rantanen deal opened up and it ended up working out. They ended up pulling the trigger, and so that'd be great. So Sarah Valley would be, quote, shocked if the Hurricanes didn't inquire on Mitch Marner before getting Rantanen. And I think getting Mitch Marner would be a good, like, a similar, right? Not as high goal scoring, right? But still a very similar amount of points, still a winger and everything. Problem is that Mitch Marner has a full-blown no trade clause. He also makes more than Rantanen as well. So with that, you're going to get less value, or Toronto's going to get less value for that back. So, and I think Toronto wants to sign Toronto or Mitch Marner. Anyways, they want to keep him. I think he gets $12.5, $13 million per year over 8 years. That's in my opinion. Mitch Marner is a phenomenal player. I would love him on my team. I cheer for the Red Wings, San Jose Sharks, and Stars. Primarily Red Wings, hence the jersey behind me. So, yeah. JT Miller. Penguins have been linked to JT Miller ahead of the deadline. Get fucked. Pittsburgh Penguins have been inquiring about JT Miller. Get fucked, dude. Like, you're so stupid. Like, why? I mean, like, cool. What are you gonna give? Like, Owen Pickering, a first round pick, and like Rickard Rakell, maybe. Like, that's probably the package right there, right? Like, your first round draft pick, or first round pick. I don't know. Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, that's crazy. Kyle, you crazy, man. I mean, I guess definitely inquire. Absolutely inquire, but yeah, I disagree with them doing that. So, Seth Jones and the Chicago Blackhawks have been linked to trading Seth Jones to the Dallas Stars. I think Seth Jones would be a great addition to the Dallas Stars because they don't have much to work with on the right side. If you look at the right side of their they have like Labushkin and they have Dumba. So so if you look at the right side, let's pull it up. They have Matt Dumba, Labushkin, and Nils Lundqvist. Like, cool. Those are all your right-handed defensemen. Like, these guys are just they're not good enough. Like, they're filling pieces. They're like, you need to go get a good defenseman. The talk is that is going to be more of an off-season trade, though. More likely, I imagine there may have to be a little bit of retention because $9.5 million is hard to stomach, right? And they have to be taking back a contract as well. I mean, Seth Jones has 21 points in 32 games. I mean, he's decent, right? He's still a good player. He's 30 years old, though, too. Like, ideally, Chicago wouldn't even be able to retain at this trade deadline either. If you took on the full one, you have to send a decent amount of contracts back. I mean, who would Dallas Stars send back? It'd probably be, like I said, it'd probably be like a Labushkin or a Dumba. Probably a Dumba because it's shorter. You dump a Dodonov, maybe. How's Marchman doing this year? You do a Marchman? You don't do a Marchman. He has 27 points in 33 games. Don't do that. But yeah, I mean, and mind you, like, I guess the nice thing is that Jamie Benn is 35 years old. He's making $9.5 million. It's the last year of his contract. So let's say Jamie Benn comes back and he said, okay, I'll come back for $7 million. Let's just assume a Kopitar deal, right? $7 million a year for 2 years. So you save $2.5 million. Cap goes up by $4 million. That's 6.5 right there. Then you send over like I said, Labushkin or Matt Demba. That kind of takes care of it right there. So you can take on that cap space right there. And again, you're going to shed like a Colin Blackwell, like a Sam Steele, like a Genny Dodonov, like Matt Duchene probably resigns. But yeah, these guys are like, you can absolutely do this. It's totally possible. Again, it's probably more like an off-season thing when they free up a little more cap space with the Jamie Benn deal falling off. So, a couple more. Brock Nelson, we talked about him was it the start of this? Yeah, it was the start of this. Holy smokes. It looks like I've been doing 2 videos. It's crazy. So, Bruins, Avs, and Leafs have all been on Brock Nelson. Again, Avalanche for sure. I mean, imagine you can do again Middlestad for Brock Nelson. That would be sick. You probably could do a Middlestad for Brock Nelson. How? Because Middlestad is supposedly not working out with the Colorado Avalanche. They want to actually. They signed him to a deal. They signed him to a 3-year deal, like $5.5 million. And he's just not performing. Yeah, $5.75 million for 3 years. He's got 31 points for 52 games. Is he a second line center? Probably not. Imagine like you just got Jack Drury, who has 11 points in 42 games so far this season. And Nate just can't play. He can play on the center, but I think he's playing the right wing with Drouin and McKinnon. I almost said Middlestead. But again, you trade like a Casey Middlestad to the Islanders. I think that would be smart because then the Islanders get a little bit younger too. And then you get, let's say you do like a third round pick. Yeah, I'd say like a third round pick in Casey Middlestad for Brock Nelson. That makes a ton of sense. And you like save a bunch of money too. Like, I don't mind that at all. I kind of like that. I also want to keep Casey Middlestad, but to me, I prefer that. That makes a lot of sense. Bruins, I don't know what the hell you're doing. I honestly don't. I don't know what you're doing. Like, you're uncertain future with Marchand. It's like you're gonna trade out Frederick because he's not working out. Swayman's having an off year. Why are you buying? Like, why aren't you flipping a couple of assets, kind of do a quick retool, and then like keep on going forward? You have pasta, so like this makes sense. So, Trevor Zegras, of course, he's coming back into the trade rumors. Oh my goodness, we're already 35 minutes in. Let's rip through this. So I believe Zegras. Someone just said online, they're like, "Oh, Zegras is working up to be the next captain of the Anaheim Ducks." No, he's not. He's not. Rutherford does not like him. Not Rutherford. I can't think of his name. The GM of Pat. Why couldn't I think of his name? Anyways, the GM of the Anaheim Ducks does not like him, and that's fine. Doesn't like his style. He's a lot of offense, a little less defense. But I mean, to me, I don't know. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, what are you gonna do with him? Like, I think you're gonna trade him. See, he has no protection. He's got in this year he's a half point per game player. I think he's a really good player. I think he's got a lot of good energy too. I don't know why. I think you should absolutely try and pursue him. And rebuilding teams like the Canadiens, Sabres, Blackhawks, Flyers, Red Wings should absolutely. I mean, I would trade a good chunk for Trevor Zegras. I think the Red Wings were looking at potentially getting him. They ended up picking Mo Seider instead. Worked out. I think it'd be cool to. I mean, that's why Red Wings are also looking at a Dylan Cousins as well. So of course you got to look at a Zegras as well. Flyers, again, your Flyers and Hawks, again, you're rebuilding. I think Zegras and Connor Bedard maybe have a good time together. That'd be good for them. Sabres, again, another young organization. Maybe you do like a Cousins for Zegras. Like, how can something like that work? Maybe. Canadiens, the Doc and Newhook experiments are not really working out that well. Suzuki is your number one center, but again, if you get like a Suzuki Zegras or vice versa, that'd be great, right? And Rangers, good luck, buddy. Good luck, Rangers. I don't know if you guys have, like, I just don't know. You guys, if you're pursuing Miller, you're not gonna be like a Zegras, in my opinion. Again, we talked about Bowen Byron, Owen Power, being on the trade block as well. Keandre Miller is also has been linked to the Ducks and the Canucks, so maybe that's where it is, right? Maybe a Keandre Miller is part of a trade with a Trevor Zegras. I guess something like that. Again, you don't really need Trevor Zegras right now because he's going to be good, but like maybe the Rangers want to get another center, right? In that sense, so I like that. Kyle Palmieri has been linked to the Stars and the Kings. Going to let's pull up the Islanders to see where Palmieri is at, because to me, I also think, again, he's a 33-year-old making $5 million a year. You retain half. He's got 32 points in 48 games. Very similar production to a Brock Nelson. Get a second, hold half salary, and get a second round pick for him. That would be phenomenal work. Come on, Lou, go out on top, man. Right? Again, that'd be smart for the Kings and Dallas Stars. Dallas Stars are also on. Man, Dallas Stars have a lot of feelers out there. Looking at Ryan Lindgren as well. I don't think they make great partners right now. It just doesn't make sense to me. Brandon Tanev has been linked to the Capitals, Rangers, Leafs, Blue Jackets, and Knights. Just throwing the Blue Jackets in there is kind of nuts. So, but let's see, going to the Seattle Kraken, where Brandon Tanev is at. He has the ghost eyes. If you're not on YouTube, you can see go look up Brandon Tanev on. Just type in Brandon Tanev, Brandon Tanev. Like, it cracks me up because Brandon Tanev is not here. Where are you at, Brandon Tanev? Goodness gracious. Is Brandon Tanev on the Calgary Flames? Maybe that's it. No, he's here. I didn't see him. Oh, he's left winger. I thought it was defenseman. Goodness gracious. 15 points in 49 games. he's got 1 year left, or his contract's up at the end of this year. Yeah, you mean Seattle? I mean, he's playing on the fourth line right now, fourth line right wing, 33 years old. I mean, you can get him for cheap. I mean, cool. Like throw like a 4th round pick for him. Like just to secure a little bit of depth. He'd be a good move and everything, but I don't know if he's gonna fetch you anything crazy. But we'll see. I think Seattle's got a tough. They got a tough. They have a tough couple of years ahead of them, especially with how their rebuild. They're not rebuild. Their build up is not going as well as they thought it would. Everyone has a partial no move, dude. Almost. Oh my god. Almost everybody has a no move clause. Holy smokes, Jesus Christ! Almost everybody has like a partial no trade clause or a partial no move clause. Like even Tanev has like a 10-team no trade list. Like Everly, like dude, go look at all the people. Like the only people that don't have it that are like, do you want to keep? Are like Ellie Tolvanen, Kako, Beniers, and Evans Riker. Like everyone else has like a full blown like, dude, rough, so rough, dude. They're just handing out no trade lists. It's miserable, dude. That's miserable. Good luck, Seattle Kraken fans, honestly. So, anyways, we're gonna hit the showers and head out for the night. Love you guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for checking out my channel, and yeah, hit like, subscribe. Make sure to star the podcast. It really helps out. Helps show numbers for sponsors and all that stuff, and helps boost my numbers and gets my podcast out there. So hit like, subscribe. Love you guys, and looking to try and get some professional interviews coming up soon. So stay tuned. Love you. Oh, and check out, I'll do a live stream on Thursday with the Red Wings at 9 o'clock Eastern versus the Edmonton Oilers. So hopefully they don't lose too badly. So love you guys.